I just want to say shout out to your mutant ape 3D avatar. So well done. My favorite part of all of this was when you're off camera and your face is doing something. I'm like, is he taking a bite of something? Is he eating? Is he taking a drink? I'm like guessing as yeah, I was like guessing what your IRL person is doing.
all of the above.
Oh no, I want one now.
Welcome everybody back to the Damn Show. I know a lot of us just experienced the Otherside demo, and there's some 10KTF news looped up all within that, and so we're going to be breaking all of that down. But we also have a very special guest, OG 10KTF community member. You guys have definitely heard of him, and if you haven't, you know his work. We have the one and only BenMayorWhite joining us. How's it going, Ben?
All good. Thank you for having me. My favorite community, for sure.
Ben, when did 10KTF get on your radar?
I think it wasn't when Figgy was doing like the Nike dunks. I think I saw some of them on Twitter, like where he was putting personalizing them. But it was on the first day, the mint day. I saw the tweet, and because I'm just like a bit of an anorak, I always dig into how it comes on my timeline if it's something interesting. And I'd figured out it would come there because people had interacted with it. So then I started like digging, found Figgy quite like on that first day or the next day. And I was like, just how much they did with simple things, especially my background in like production, like digital content. I was just like blown away. Oh, wow. And these guys get it as well. So then from there, pretty much immediately, I just needed to speak to them. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to know everything. But yeah, the first day, I think it was.
And so I didn't mention it in the introduction, but you were at Adidas formerly, and you had a huge role in that Adidas G Money collaboration, and I think Pixel Vault was in that as well. Can you tell us more about that? Because I don't know if you've shared that story or spoken about it before. So if this is a damn exclusive, I'm going to sound the alarms.
Yeah, I've not spoken about it much. I spoke about it with NFT Nick on his podcast like last June, but I couldn't really say anything because we were going through it all. So it was just, I was like, maybe we'll do something, maybe we won't. So I've never really spoken about it too much. But yeah, I was at Adidas Global at headquarters in Germany, and I found out about NFTs in December 2021. And I found out about it because I love virtual reality, and it was just referenced in a blog that I was reading. And I was, what's that? And I clicked the link, and as we all do, go through our different routes. I was in cryptocurrency from about 2018, but I just had Bitcoin and Ethereum. I didn't trade. I just had it. And I didn't really know anyone I didn't know any crypto people or NFT people, or I had no concept of what an NFT was when I first found out about it. I more understood the base, like the smart contract. And I was like, okay, this is how we're going to transact across all of the realities. Because I love virtual reality. So I went back to Adidas in January after the Christmas break, and I was in football as a content planner. So I just started asking everyone, is there a department? I just don't know about it. Is there an NFT department or metaverse or virtual reality department? And I was like, because I just have to work in this now or I'm going to leave, basically. I'm pretty open and honest. So I just started speaking to my bosses and people around me. And then I found my way to certain people, one of them being now my dear friend, Andrea Pragmatico on Twitter. And she'd been in NFT since 2018. And it was basically how it started to form inside the company was like just a bunch of disparate people that had been pushing whether to accept Bitcoin or NFTs. And we just started to form around a team. And outside of that, as we came to March, I think I bought my first NFT and then started to go into Discords, started to understand how these things were getting built. And I really loved it, although I was quite quiet in the Discords because when people found out I was at Adidas, everyone was just saying, when Adidas? But I really enjoyed it. I could have afforded a CryptoPunk, to be fair, but at the time it was 7 Ethereum. And when you're new to everything and I was like, this is crazy. If I told my wife here about this, like she's going to be angry. So I was looking for a community and I found the Bored Apes. Actually, maybe we should just go back a quick bit before that. As I was like going into the community, I noticed G Money and a lot of his tweets were teaching me a lot of things. And then we just like exchanged DMs. And then he was like, hey, you're at Adidas, we should talk. So I had a really long conversation with him and asked him really, is this something that like the decentralized world would like, you know, like the brands to come in? And he said to me that his mum would understand this. You know, if his CryptoPunk was on an Adidas product, people will understand them. So it's okay, this makes a lot of sense. And this is before the apes even exist. And then I become a Bored Ape. I find my community that I've been looking for. So basically what I wanted was to find a community that had other talented people in there and we could create together, and then that would create the value. And then we'd have this weird club on the internet. And it worked. But like Pixel Ball and Sean, G-Funk, I was like becoming really close friends with everyone because I was just trying to learn from everyone in the space and then bring it back into Adidas. So, you know, when the Mutants drop and the Kennel Club dropped, I was doing presentations and then giving them internally at Adidas to talk about utility and community and how it's all like evolving, and social events like the serum being taken, all these different things, like new concepts for companies to understand. And then no one really wanted to take hold of 21 strategy, to be honest, because it's quite scary because it was the year that it was. And normally in these big companies, you work a few years out. But the kind of idea started to form and a few of us put it together. Obviously, I was like leading in terms of with the partners, got everyone on board, Bored Apes, G Money, Pixel Vault, and Punk's Comic. And we needed to partner with them because we didn't have the internal knowledge right. So it was like, okay, these are people are actually doing drops, successfully running communities or are thought leaders and helping the space in G Money's case, for example. So it was like, it's more like to lean on them, but also will inbuild the distribution model because we know that it will sell out immediately because of who it's associated with and it's done in the right way. And it was very difficult because obviously it's like a 72, 73-year-old company, 70,000 people. And there was about 10 of us that knew about NFTs and probably about 4 of us had a wallet.
Well, Ben, I wanted to ask really quickly. I think your pinned tweet on your Twitter profile right now is from last May, where you changed your, I think it's Microsoft Teams PFP to your Bored Ape. And in hindsight, like that's really early on, even in the Bored Ape community in general. So I'd be really curious how what that was about and how, you know, some of the reactions came about that.
Yeah, honestly, it's hilarious because like I did a vote and then I changed it, and I changed it on LinkedIn as well. And nobody had done that at that point. And then and at Adidas, because I joined at the beginning of coronavirus, I hadn't met many people in real life. And I never turned my camera on because I just find it distracting, like looking at myself. So like when I got the Bored Ape and changed it, I was just joining meetings remotely as a Bored Ape on like giant screens around the world in Adidas, like headquarters all over the place. It was funny because I'd join and people would be like, who's that? Like in the corner. And I'm like, oh, hello, I'm Ben, and start explaining to them. And I'd be like, and this is my identity. And then I would use it as a segue to start evangelizing NFTs. But people were a bit like it's a bit mysterious or like confusing to people, but then it was actually a really good way to start the conversation and education about it. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely got a few crazy looks.
Then were you feeling at that time, because I've got the world of respect for you jumping into like corporate culture and holding it down for NFTs at that time, but were you feeling like a little bit of a disruptor at that time at all? Or what was that like for you internally through that process?
I would probably say I've been a disruptor all my life, probably in terms of my personality. At school was not a very fun environment. Or maybe it was, but maybe not for the teachers. And also I'm not really a corporate person, but I felt up against it, shall we say. It was definitely the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life because, you know, for a period of time, 4 or 5 months, most phone calls was either like, you know, laughter, a bit of ridicule, not in a bad way, just like fear is a very crippling thing for people. And if you're the one telling them about it, you know, no, we'll do it in a couple of years. I'm like, no, the time is now. Trust me, we need to do this. And, you know, and at the same time, you're like, wait there a second. What if this doesn't work? Just in certain moments, you question yourself, obviously. But yeah, you just have to know it's the right thing to do. And then if you're coming from it in the right way, then all questions can be answered, right? Because you're like, no, there's lots of. I was also worried as well because I got Adidas to buy a Bored Ape, which was also a very difficult thing to do. Not me alone, sorry, should I say. There was quite a few of us pushing for it. But when we managed to do that, even buying a Bored Ape as a corporation, how do you get the money signed off? Because the price changes every second. So it's just there's lots of different things, and then departments that you have to educate. So it could be treasury or licensing, intellectual property, product, and each time you have to get them to a base level of understanding, right? So you have to take them through presentations of what NFTs are, what they're going to do, who the Bored Apes are, who G Money is, and then bring them to the campaign idea.
Thank you for putting in that work and for standing tall and all that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there a moment or a specific sentence that you said that you were okay, you saw them actually changing their mind towards all of this space? If you remember a specific moment or sentence that made them actually say, okay, maybe it's right, we should go for it.
I'm trying to think of a specific moment. There was some moments when we delivered a presentation to very senior people, and you could see everyone was engaged. And people at the end of the call was this was the most fascinating call we've had in he'd been there for 20 or 30 years. And it was for a long time. So it was you get this feeling, you're we're doing the right thing. It's going to work. And I think the main thing is having that kind of pathway, which, it's difficult for big companies, but some people that were high up, like Erica from Originals, that really put their ass on the line as well. So you can start to feel the organizations, if you can get high up enough that they're okay, yeah, this team need to do this thing. It's a test. Let's go for it. And then if you've got some backing, I think the biggest moment for us when we bought the ape, actually, now I'm thinking about it, there was Andrea, Lani, and myself who were all at Adidas at the time. And we were crying. We picked the ape, we'd finally got the money and we bought it. And I was just because then really I felt that Adidas must continue with the rest of the plan, right? Because they've got the ape now. So it was okay, now we're going. So I'd say that was probably the moment, actually. Yeah.
And Ben, you said that so you got the money, and I'm so curious, how does it happen in a big corporation like Adidas? Did you set up a MetaMask and get money off of an exchange, and the HR or treasury is behind you watching you do this? I'm so curious how the actual purchase happened.
I would have loved it if it was like that. It probably could have been if we would have tried to push it, but it was just too difficult. So we had an outside agency put an invoice in, which didn't say an ape. It was marketing, under marketing. And then we got the budget to them. But, even to the agency, then we was hey, they were at the time, it's maybe they won't get the money. Listen, we'll be able to just keep it as the agency. It's a high valued asset. It's going to increase in value. I think it was about 47 ETH at the time, maybe a bit more, that we got the Indigo. So yeah, it was, I think if you look in the NFT, you can see that Indigo Hertz, the ape, Adidas ape, is wearing the Forum trainers, the basketball footwear. And it's because it came from that budget.
That's a funny little tidbit. I'll make a little clip out of that and get the screenshots. That's awesome. And Ben, I think this conversation inevitably leads into the other side, because the two parallels that I see here, and Diamond, maybe this is where I want all of us to chime in and share all of our experiences, whether it was watching the stream or participating in it. But the lead into this is that what Adidas and Bored Ape, why that was such a pivotal thing, was because it was a collaboration between three separate entities coming together, and maybe even four entities coming together. And that's what the metaverse is really about. It's about taking things that were supposed to be in their own silos in the old world, because that's how brands and businesses do things, and moving into a world where everything is interoperable. Given what you've done and the work you've done, your lead into 10KTF is obvious because you saw what they were doing with that as well. It's the putting together all the communities. And so now we just had it where the other side, the first trip just completed about an hour and a half ago. And within it, there's a lot of really cool things, but we got a specific shout out for the 10KTF community as well, where one of the clues that Curtis gave was somebody lost their glasses at NFT NYC. Let's go find them. And I want to shout out Maybe because we posted this clip yesterday where Maybe said about 2 weeks back saying, I think there's going to be some sort of a tie-in to the other side with 10KTF on this trip. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's going to be something. So that's a big setup, but I wanted to lead that into Diamond, and maybe let's start with you two. What was your experience like in the other side and seeing that specific clue?
Okay, so I participated in the first trip because I actually have two other deeds, and I gave one to my brother. So like I really wanted to give it to Diamond, but I had, promised my brother, because my brother is a gamer. So it was like, please, I have to try it. So I was like, of course, I'm gonna give the extra one I have. So we were sitting next to each other, and I was like, okay, so now you go, you do everything they say, try to find things or whatever, because I'm just going around trying to find 10 KTF stuff. Like, I'm gonna be carrying like 100% of what the instructions are, because I wasn't expecting something so clearly connected with 10 KTF. I wasn't expecting Curtis or the voice. I don't know who was the person speaking. I think is Curtis.
It sounded like Gordon. It sounded a bit like Gordon
Oh,
Garner,
really?
actually. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool, cool. I wasn't expecting him to say, find the broken glasses. I was expecting something more hidden that you were gonna see, but not that they were gonna say it openly to everyone like that. That was a lot. That was very crazy. And yeah, we were holding a space with press while we were in the other side. And in the moment that they say that, we were all like, oh my God, are they saying that? This is like a confirmation that 10 KTF is connected to the other side. I don't care anymore about what people say, because this is too strong. Like, it's too related. The mission that started at 6 p.m. East was called the Other Glasses. And then we get into the other side and we have to find the broken glasses that someone broke during NFT NYC. And we know that during NFT NYC is when we saw the trailer, when we saw that Wagmi-san was driving like a maniac, and then the accident and everything that happened to him. So it was crazy. Like, that obviously related to 10 KTF. It was crazy. I'm so happy and absolutely not disappointed. I was scared of being disappointed, but I'm not. Besides 10 KTF, the experience of the other side was very cool. I'm not a gamer. I don't usually enjoy to just play games and do all these things, but that was cool because, first of all, there was a moment that we all, the 10 KTF people, all the other 10 KTF people, we just said, I remember it was Van Buren, he said, hey guys, there is an area with some chairs on the right side of the screen. Let's just hang there. So we all went there and it was like, okay, hello guys. And I could see, atareh, Van Buren, then I think I saw Seam as well, some other people. And it was cool. Like, that's not just playing a game. That's different. I was meeting my friends. We were interacting. So that was, like, let's say, my favorite part of all of it, that I was actually able to interact with my friends and have fun there. I have to say that it was a very positive experience, and pretty sure that they nailed it.
Maybe I think what you said earlier about the glasses, I think the reason why that's so foundational or so important is that this was the first time where we got a clue specifically from Yuga and the other side explicitly saying something about 10 KTF. In the past, it's always been from 10 KTF, where it's the coda bottle or like the tweet that says first trip other side. So now with Yuga literally saying it in their own game, that's like the argument is, it's open and shut case. It's done. It's now confirmed on both parties.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important thing.
It was amazing for me. I don't have a Otherdeed myself, but I was once again participating in Press's space and watching Chateau, one of our 10KTF members, watching him on his stream, going through like the other side and just like staying connected through that distant view was an awesome opportunity. I wish I was FOMOing so hard. Is like I'm watching everything roll out. Like, for them to create a AAA S tier game and roll it out as fast as they have with the smoothness of experience that we're seeing play out. This is, if everyone's looking for this mass adoption, this big game moment that's really going to saturate the larger gaming culture, it looks like this is the front runner to do that right now, at least where from what I'm seeing. I know Illuvium has some great stuff coming out. There's some other stuff, other world building stuff going on. I can't wait for the Runeverse. There's these other world buildings that are happening, but seeing this really come out at this such a smooth running operation and the quality of renders that we're seeing within that, I couldn't be more bullish about the future of what's going on with the Otherside, and having 10KTF is a part of that. A beautiful thing that happened on that space was in real time, 19's in our space, right? 19_ETH on Twitter is on the space, and he jumps in. They're saying, oh yeah, somebody broke their glasses in the Otherside, and so that's the big find. And 19, while he's in our space, goes in, he says, oh yeah, I remember they mentioned something about palm trees, and I saw something about palm trees when I was running in that it just looked weird. It looked out of place, but I was just trying to follow Curtis then. So like I noted it and I just kept rolling. And then he ended up mentioning that as soon as Curtis on the in the actual game mentioned something about palm trees, giving out these little under hints to what they're doing, he said, I jumped 5 different portals back, went and found that old palm tree, and through a process of deductive reasoning, went back and pinned down where there might be glasses, and then went and looked around the palm tree. He said people were around the palm tree, but they weren't like searching underneath of it per se. And then he found this little like a oil can silo, a little trash can, oil can type thing, and the glasses were sitting on top of that. And I just like to be sitting on a 10KTF space, like we've done all this, like piecing this together along the way of if you know, you know. The first time I saw anything about 10KTF was Beeple's tweet that said IYKYK. And I had to look up what if you know, you know means, even because I'm a boomer, right? I'm older. That being said, I went in and I was like, oh, if Beeple's talking about if you know, you know, like this has to be some good stuff, right? Like this, I don't know what this is. And so I jumped in and we started doing all our speculation. The Discord's booming. Everything was just crazy, getting to build community there as we're all speculating. So we're doing all this sleuthing, whether it's through a visual clue, if you see a palm tree that looks at it, or a written narrative that we see within what Wagner's saying, or we even dove deep into all the team founders and like the team members stuff. I'll never forget the day when Adidas came to the chat. Like Ben was saying, everyone goes, when Adidas? We had to make a disclaimer that, hey, we're just glad to have Rufus and the Adidas team here. Ben, we're blessed to have you here. We're not going to work you too hard for alpha, okay? Even though each one of us was like privately rolling through all their Twitter history, you know? And so like this is a community, and what we do is we are sleuthed to the max. We're trying to figure out what's going on in all this wild NFT speculation space. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see multiple projects using that element of mystery to be able to present these great narratives and what they're doing. And so to have that 10KTF, community member, the legend, hold that down and go out and find that piece of glasses that we're looking for, I didn't think that was by accident. And that being said, Nyson GM went in and found the Jenkins Ballet when it was the Where's Jenkins, went in and found that one. And so seeing these 10KTF community members go out there and really plug into some of this larger mystery stuff where if you know, 10KTF stands for 10K true fans. And so what we do is we stay dedicated to what the team's doing, what they're posting, everything they got going on. And through this symbiosis, like this sleuthing work that we do as a community, we're able to solve some of these larger community tie-ins. And so to see that piece from Yuga, like you said earlier, atareh, that piece from Yuga that ties into like them showing us Wagner's glasses, where 10KTF has showed us that Coda bottle a few different times, but people outside of our community, no, we know what you culties are up to over there, you bunch of crazies. Like it's all love, but like, it's what we do. And I think that it's part of the beauty of the project in 10KTF that we get to have these type of moments.
Ben, I wanted to hear your take on the other side.
Oh, for me, it was like I didn't stop smiling the whole time. I even got to run through a meadow with a coda, and it like turned around and we had this little moment together. But like for me, I've been saying it for a while, like to friends and stuff behind the scenes, because like a lot of people talk about AAA games and stuff, and they take 5 years. It's like, this isn't gaming how you've known it before, and like Improbable, they're really good at what they do, and we haven't had so many people ever from like a launch, if you want, already bought in and ready to help build this thing. And for me, just I love that you said that. Maybe about one of my favorite things is a few moments. I didn't speak to them, I text to them, but like I saw people and they come and stood in front of me. Hey, it's me, you know, jumping up and down. And I was like, whoa. And you know, when we are actually all like cool cats, clone X's, bored apes, all inside there, like running around, and we're wearing our Gucci or our, you know, Nike or Adidas, like whatever, like clothes we've got on, this is going to be crazy. You know, I really see one of my favorite aspects about it is actually the community part of it. And I can see shows happening in there, right? Like the Tonight Show, Saturday Night Live, and there'll be groups of people. And every Friday, like, we got to get to that part of the land. They're like, we need to get some coder and coder farts to take us there. How are we going to travel? You know, I don't know. By the way, I don't know if that's how you travel. I'm just making it up. So like for me, and it worked so smooth. It really worked smooth. I don't know how many people were there, but like maybe 4,500 or something. And when I did the coder fight at the end and was like bouncing back and forward, like hitting the coder, just like all the lighting and everything, it was really special. And then also Diamondhandz, I have 4 lands, so next time I'll send you one and you can go in if you don't.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. Good looking out, man.
That's what we do in the
We're all
10K
gonna make
community. Yep. We
We're
all
all
look out
gonna
for each
make
other.
it.
That's the spirit.
What is it that you say, Diamond?
Well, we can't all make it unless we make it together. And so even the people like those 10K TF item holders, y'all, we're all going to make it out here. And I look forward to seeing the way that 10K TF is going to build out and what they do. I think it's a great opportunity to continue to onboard other projects. I don't think that 10K TF's full idea is just to work with these blue chip tiers. Seeing them bring WowG in so close to their launch at such a low floor price was like, oh yeah, that's that WAGMI that I'm talking about. Let's get some more opportunity for, you know, the projects that haven't really been well established. And kudos to all those floors. They deserve to be the blue chips that they are for that reason. But the opportunity to build in some of these new projects and some of these up and coming projects, I'm really looking forward to when 10KTF's able to fire that up. But we know that New Tokyo has to be secure before WAGMI can bring in new friends. So we got to get 10KTF locked down with this kaiju problem. And then I look forward to the day where we can bring in some lower level, you know, what are considered the not so blue chip tiers, but the people that really need a shot out there. That's making it for everybody.
And I think what's interesting with the other side as well, and I was walking around, you maybe like, I was looking at the bits like that were not connected to the land we were on. I was like, what's that floating land there? What's this over here? And I think, you know, what's going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months is we're going to realize the real creators and communities from the ones that were just there to flip some money, because it's going to be put back onto the creators and the communities to get their SDK, get their profile pictures into avatars and ready to go and play within the other side. And I think we're going to be great as the 10KTF community because we're like lore and narrative builders, it feels like a lot of us. So we'll probably, even if we weren't as lucky as we are to be fully involved in the like lore and narrative of different communities like the other side, we would have built it anyway. And that would be my invite to people that are in communities, is to remember it's not just on your creators or not just on the other virtual worlds to do this for you. It's on you, and all of the tools are there, and you have the talent within your communities. Yeah.
And that leads right into something that we've been saying on the show for quite a while and in the 10KTF community, that there is a co-creation happening with the 10KTF storyline. We noticed that most again with the IRL event, with people's names in the trailer and on the walls and things like that. And what's really cool is that, and I don't know who started it or how much crosstalk there is. There's obviously some crosstalk between 10KTF and Yuga Labs. We can see that even when we think about the other side, this is co-creation at its like finest. It's the community assisting the developers and the team, and we're building it together. And Gordon Goner tweeted out saying, he used the word co-develop. And whether it's co-creation or co-develop, we're seeing that the premier brands in this space understand that it's not about a top-down, take this and consume this because we built it for you. It's a let's meet in the middle and create something with the magic of the community and the lore that's in there, and then what we bring and put that together. And that's where I think what the other side is. That's what 10KTF is. I don't think it's hit all of us yet that 10KTF is integrated into one of the largest NFT community in the space. Like when you think about how many projects there are, it's so difficult to like try to guess and find the one that's going to be, really closely tied into the big beast that is Yuga Labs. And some way or somehow, it's like we knew that there was something special happening at 10KTF, and so that principle of just co-creation is really, I think, cool to see happening now in Yuga as well.
That's interesting.
The point to what you were saying about the co-creation, I think one of the communities that's really good in terms of building tools and helping their creators is Wolfgame. Like they seem to have a lot of devs there, and they build a lot of the tools. Like I saw in Cave Game where they built the navigation tool and stuff. And I feel like, yeah, we can help a lot more with our, like with 10KTF as well, for sure.
Yeah, one space we're seeing that happen right now, at least when I walked into New Tokyo in Brooklyn, and I saw M Nails Bar with Mimi Chan and what she does with her nails. Seeing that with like the physical nail bar put into what we're doing in New Tokyo was like a moment for me where it's okay, we need to be doing is looking at what we want to do in the metaverse in the future. So create for yourself something that you can be passionate about that gets co-supported within the larger narrative of 10KTF. And we seeing Mimi be there, and then seeing what Mag Dillon's doing as well. Maggie, what she's doing building in World of Women and in 10KTF into her book of Reverie. Love seeing that and looking to see, what we're doing here at the Damn Show. We're building here as well. So many people building in these different ways that are able to see themselves in this project, and then looking at, the symbiosis and the reciprocity that can come from that. It's all up from there. So in the middle of this bear market, I just really want to encourage everybody in 10KTF to just consider what you'd like to do 5 years in the future in a digital space that seems passionate, seems like something you could get behind. One thing that happened today while the other side was going on was I was like, we need some 10KTF streamers. I need to know who our dedicated 10KTF Twitch people are. Right? Yes. Because as Otherside continues to build out, we're going to have some high score stuff going on. We're going to have them cracking some codes because we all know we're a bunch of crazy sleuthers, right? So if they open up any type of Easter eggs within that game, and we know Easter eggs are a big part of gaming, right? I'm hyped to see what some of the 10KTF folk can do within that, and then being able to highlight that into what some of the content that we're doing, continuing to uplift all community members, because all boats rise and we can't make it unless we all make it together. And looking for future of co-creation, it would be a great time for you to, if you want to mention what you got going on with New Tokyo Rogues, possibly. Really excited to hear what you're doing over there with that.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously with a lot of the stuff that I do, it's when we look at the Adidas stuff, it's like working inside a corporation. And, if you are a creative or a strategist, like normally the final thing that comes out the door that the world sees is about 5% of what you wanted to do. So you never can look at it and see what everyone else sees because you wanted it to be much more, for example. So then I wanted to take some time off to figure out. I've been speaking to clients, companies, whether I should join a company, take clients on. But I wanted to take some time, and I love being creative. And I was like, what do I love doing about this? And it was like, I like to tell stories and I like characters. And that's the first thing that attracted me to NFTs in the first place, was when I started seeing, like profile pictures is what we know them as now. But it was like, I can put personality onto these characters and I can give them a backstory. And then when I saw New Tokyo and how well they told the story, and that they'd pulled together all these different collections, and I owned many profile pictures from those collections, I started to think they've built the world already and this ongoing narrative with Wagmi-san, but there's all these other characters and people that are living in New Tokyo. And I saw what Magdalene had done with Book of Reverie. I messaged her as well, just like saying, I love this. And then what I've been doing, been collaborating a bit, but basically is creating a story around these 8 characters who are called the New Tokyo Rogues. And basically they've all come together through the same thing, that in New Tokyo, they didn't agree with their profile picture collections. So they were basically rogues, and they needed to find a way to survive in New Tokyo, because as we all know, those New Tokyo streets are pretty difficult. So basically the story and the format is that it will be like, at the moment I'm trying to figure out, I need to find an artist or two to work on it with me, but I have the story for the first, what I'm calling season, and basically we'll tell the story, and they're in New Tokyo, and it will touch every now and then on the main narrative. So like,
Cool.
when we all fought for the store against like the different collections that tried to take power when the boss toads were a bit weak, you can tell the story of how the rogues helped fight there in that moment. And then as we progress, one of them might get, I keep referencing this, by the way, it's not a true thing, but like the sword of truth, like one of the characters could actually get that from the missions, but then there won't be the story there, the background of how they got it, what does it mean? So you can actually start helping fill in the blanks and creating this like story around it. And then the final thing I'd say is that I'm very interested in like the commentary of the culture and being able to reference people, moments, you know, even in 10KTF, what was it, Speculation Avenue, and all these different like phrases and things that come up on spaces, and you can reference them. You know, if they're ever at a space and they're talking about something that they're conspiring something, they could be on Speculation Avenue, you know, and it's just in the background, the street name. And then as other people start joining, we're all going to have 3D avatars very soon. And then whether it's in the other side or like my ape here, we'll be able to hold shows and calls. And, you know, if big things happen between the cool cats and the gutter cats, for example, we can bring together their two leaders and their community leaders. And we're like, come on, let's thrash it out. You know, like what's going on here? You know, it was like a real, like a town hall back in the day. Yeah, I really like that thought. And so I really just want to help push forward intellectual property, like narrative and lore, and hopefully build a layer on top of what's happening in New Tokyo.
And that's the real idea of co-creation behind what everyone's trying to do, I think, right now. And I don't know, just real quick, like looking at you were talking earlier about, you know, the traditional facet of what Adidas does. I think it's so important to decouple the tradition, right, while also looking to create that symbiosis. So building the narrative on top of what New Tokyo is already doing and incorporating the other pieces. And we saw New 10KTF already do that in the story along the line with putting Ethan's artwork into the video, with putting Netta and Atareh on the walls, the whale sign. The team is very in tune with what we do as a community as well. And so I'll be keeping an eye out for this sort of truth that you're talking about, Ben, now that I know that this has been entered into the lore. But it's moments like that like the team, I wouldn't doubt the team will pick up on those little pieces. And then we get this sort of truth that, like, knowing that Wagner's so honorable, based in honor and this huge ethos of just solid ethics. For me, seeing the community resonate with that's something that we're all about, being able to look at our decentralized trust and sharing the tools. There's just some pieces in this community that I really look forward to seeing build. So Sword of Truth, it's on my radar for sure. I've got it noted.
For anybody that's not in the loop, can you give us a quick primer on the Sword of Truth?
It's a mysterious sword, so there's not too much known right now. But, you know, it is the all being one truth of the metaverse, and it's somewhere out there. We just need to find it.
Okay. So maybe at the second trip, we'll be looking for a sword in a stone, perhaps.
Excalibur style. Let's go.
Ben, I was also going to say that as you mentioned shows and the other side, I know I've said that we're going to host a in-person damn show, but, you know, let's keep it inclusive. Let's do a damn show in the other side as well.
Yes.
Just imagine that amphitheater, and we get hundreds and thousands of people in the stands, and we'll be doing the show right then and there too.
That's amazing. Because the thing is, you can get to a point where you could see in the other side test today where it was very basic, but you can see what they were doing, which was like, you know, come over here if you've got a coder on your land, or go over there, and they were just trying to see if people would follow. But you can imagine once, like, you can do that on a big scale and like bring the people to a certain thing, and then you could vote on things, you know, stand on this platform and that platform, and then you see it like rises which one's the heaviest or like lightest or something like that. And then we all know it's okay, that's the vote for 10KTF from the community. So yeah, I think that's really exciting.
I just wanted to say New Tokyo News as well. We should have actually physical location where we broadcast New Tokyo News from. So that would be pretty cool. Hoping that obviously we'll have it in New Tokyo.
what's so interesting is that because we still don't know what New Tokyo fully looks like and it's still being built out, aka co-creation, it's maybe there's a stand where there's the New Tokyo news with a newspaper and then there's like a little soapbox there, or where we'll go to in the other side and that becomes the spot where we host things. So I'm excited to even just see how, given how 10KTF has already incorporated the community into their physical spaces, it's how did they do that in the digital realm as well. We already saw Mimi Chan's nail salon in the Brooklyn event at 10KTF, and so that's going to be in New Tokyo in the digital sphere as well. Is there going to be a Djin University there? Is there going to be a damn show studio there? It's like all these things are up there, and it's possible. And if there aren't, I think that given we all have lands, we'll be able to build things and create it ourselves and say, this is my piece of land and here's a studio for this, and this is where the New Tokyo Rogues hang out and this is their alleyway. And so I think the co-creation of this is really going to be beautiful because it's so driven by community and the energy of the community.
100%. You can set up cameras as well. There's some companies and folks that are really smart in VR and they can actually set up cameras. So like you can switch between the cameras. So like do a close up on the show host, like it will actually be pretty mad. And then I feel like that will be a big aha moment for a lot of people, whether it's through Twitch, whether it's through YouTube or Instagram, TikTok. They're going to see clips of this shit happening, like cats and dogs and apes, like all talking and doing this thing. They're like, what is this? And they're like, oh, it's not just a JPEG. Okay, all right. And once then everyone's walking around with like they're walking around with Apple glasses on. Then we're walking around in real life as my ape with my Gucci clothes, with my Gucci drip, and they're like, oh my God, there's BenMayorWhite, because they can see the ape and the clothes because they're wearing the glasses. This is going to be sick.
I wanted to move into the speculation of going forward with 10KTF and the other side. So first is the other side posted a tweet saying there is a prize or a claim later today. What do you guys all think that is?
I don't know, maybe because we've been used to getting like a specific token from 10KTF after every mission, like not a quantity of token, not ape.
Yeah, like a POAP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a better version of it. Like an NFT in your wallet that says that you were there or something, probably with future utility as well.
Yeah, same thing. Maybe a POAP, some badge that everyone gathered up for that snapshot. And we know with 10KTF that they referred to as snapshot reward tiers that we've reached, whether silver or gold or bronze. And, we get the little POAPs, but I do think that there'll be a connecting piece to this, to where it'll be applicable for future gameplay or to the future narrative at some point, each of those things. Today we got the pair of glasses, and so seeing that the people on the other side were trying to find a pair of glasses, and as our POAP today, we all got a little pair of glasses for participating in Battle.town. Another little small link there, but at the same time, another piece to where, fingers crossed, we'll have applicable value with that and what we're doing as far as building. One of the first things they gave us was a brick, and we can build with that. And then we got a sword, and it's okay, we might be able to get a sword with this later. Then we got a little Wen token, and we know Wen Moon has just been doing work for WAGMI on the under for a while. And so these little pieces that could lead into this larger lore. And so I'm hopeful the people from Otherside get some sort of a piece that allows them to play into the larger game and narrative later as well.
Ben, what about you?
Yeah, I like what you said there, Diamondhandz. Maybe the photo, maybe like all the people that were there could get dropped that in their wallet or something, because they want to probably reward the voyagers. But if people had something on today and couldn't go, and I think they mentioned that they're going to rerun the trip a few more times to let people that couldn't join today. So I feel like they wouldn't do something too big, because a lot of people would be like, hey, I couldn't join and blah, blah, blah. But I like that. Like the photo would be pretty cool.
Guys, I just have to say it. Where is the 10KTF speculation going bananas, promising the moon? Where is that energy? I'm saying we're all getting quotas. We're all getting land because we're in the other side. That's what's happening. Come on. I want to see some energy. We're getting POAPs? No way. We didn't just go through all that just to get a little POAP. We're getting New Tokyo.
From 10KTF side or from like
from the other
side?
The other side. Folks from the other side, yeah.
We're
all getting land.
Percent.
That's what
Wag Me Sans glasses,
Yeah.
all of us. And we can wear them in the other side.
I need a little bit more hopium. I want to get some exciting clips for the
Well,
show out on Twitter. Give me some hopium, baby.
we know that the other
Yeah.
side has 100,000 beads that they still haven't released, and we got about 5K holders and 10K TF. So like very small piece of allocation there. Hey, and at 10K TF, we're a bunch of builders. That's what we do. We content. What do you need, other side? What do we need to provide here? Because the community's ready to start just working up for whatever we need to do over here. All right, we're grinders, we're sleuthers. If y'all got any more mystery out there, don't worry, we're working on solving it. Even when some of the moderators tell us no, this isn't connected at all, y'all. And then 3 months later, we're
I
like, oh, okay, yeah, no,
We're like,
it's
can
I
we
not
don't
connected
care.
at all.
Diamond, we should set that story up because I think that's a beautiful story to tell because that's been 3-4 months in the making of like I told you so, and we're not gonna no hard feelings to any of the Board Ape Yacht Club mods. No hard feelings. You're just doing your job, but we're doing our job, which is sleuthing and connecting clues, baby. That's what we do at 10KTF.
No, Shadowless one night in the Discord was like, Diamonds, I know you're doing all this research, but are you in each of the parent PFP's Discords? And I was like, no, man, I'm not really. And like I started thinking about it, I was like, it's probably a pretty good idea. Start jumping in the parent Discords and like seeing what they're doing alpha wise, whether how much, checking in on how much they know about what's going on with Wagme San. And so I started bouncing around and doing all that work. And then, it was like December or January sometime. We all jumped up in the Board Ape Yacht Club Discord and we're messing around, like trying to 10K TF it up. Sometimes it can get a little testy. Like we're connected to the projects, but we're not the project. The day that me and Figgy and a few other people got kicked out of the Gutter Cat Gang's Discord for posting G's in the chat, like we just try to show up and have some fun, y'all. But that being said, when you don't know where these people are from, the energy and vibe, you got to check it because we can't just have open shilling up in here. And yeah, decided to jump over. There's some sort of a tweet that went out that connected the other side. We were pretty sure that like this was our big lead in for the other side. And so we jump into the Board Ape Yacht Club Discord and we're like, other side, like we can see the connections here at the party IRL in LA. The Board Ape Yacht Club logo was imposed on the photo map. Meta posted it in the Discord, and now we're pretty sure that 10KTF's hinting to us that we're going to be involved with the other side because the shop in the swamp was also on that photo too. And so Curtis's little outpost, and we were like, oh yeah, we got the tinglers now. We know what's up. And so we jumped over to Board Ape Yacht Club's Discord to be like, hey y'all, did y'all hear about Board Ape Yacht Club being in 10KTF's photo IRL in LA? And one of the mods for Board Ape Yacht Club is, y'all, I can tell you I'm very involved with Board Ape Yacht Club, if you did not know. And I can tell you there is no association with 10KTF, okay? So y'all cultists just get the hell out of the chat for a little bit. And it wasn't like that for real, but it was like they had no idea about the connections of the possible intertwines. But we're also like tinfoiler that we're just trying to get other people to grab some tinfoil too.
We also had the Coda bottle show up in the shop, and that's when we also made another push in the Board Ape community. And the responses from the mods were that, oh, that's not official, that they're just using IP that they're not supposed to. And that
Misuse. They said that's a misuse of the other side Yuga IP.
Yeah, and they're gonna get in trouble. Figgy's gonna get in trouble with that and all that. And like to go from there to like now with Curtis, which Ben, like you said, it sounded like Gordon Goner speaking as Curtis, saying look for glasses because somebody broke it. That's okay. Okay, that's right. You don't ever doubt 10KTF. You never doubt us. We're a little tinfoil sometimes.
They'll be like, they're not Wagme's glasses. Like, they're not even Wagme's glasses. They're not the same color.
Wagme got laser eye surgery like 20 years ago. He doesn't even wear glasses. What are you talking about?
Where there's smoke, there's fire, and we're very good at finding the smoke.
Yeah,
and then the fire.
We've always been that way.
And y'all know I'm smoking all the time. I got a master's degree in cannabis dabbing. That being said, here's a little smoke for you right here. Here's a little smoke for you right here. Do y'all remember when Beeple and Gordon met up? Like when Beeple, when he was tweeting about like the goblins, it was like a month and a half ago, right? Like 6 weeks ago. And then all of a sudden, Beeple and Gordon are having lunch together at some
Mhm.
undisclosed location. Oh, okay. So y'all are telling me that they're meeting up and they're not talking about anything having to do with this connection to 10KTF and Otherside. That might be a possibility. I don't see it as a very realistic probability, right? Possibility, probability, two different things. I think that they're very well attuned in who's talking to who and who's doing what. But when you're talking, if you know, you really got to be careful about who you give this information out to, too. And so credit to that mod. I'm sure, with all of his IP worries, I hope he's secure and sound, that we knew ain't over here doing nothing that they can't get through the door in business at the end of the day. That's what this is all built for. While Figgy rugged us for the demystification of 10KTF, and I'll never forgive him for not giving us that PDF that he promised us, at the end of the day, we really were just a bunch of rabbit holers that like to have a good time.
The part where you see the Figgy is creating his loadout, on the upper right part it says white paper, like you can click on it. And I thought about you immediately. I was like, that's for Diamondhandz.
I was so looking forward to some sort of a reveal that day, right? I was seriously like tingling inside. This is going to be it. Oh my gosh, we're going to demystify it all. And oh, how wrong I was. But that being said, I really hope the team never does demystify this completely. It's where all the fun lies. It's what brings us together and brings us back together, like these little tidbits of information, the little pieces of speculation. But one thing that Ben had mentioned earlier about the possibility of one of those snapshots, even getting that photo airdrop to you. I loved how even that is enough, right? Like that photo, that moment. I think that one area where we're missing right now, and hopefully with the influx of like projects and traders and investors that's going on right now, right? The people that are really there for what's bigger than the deal type of value we can talk about. Monetary value is one thing, but there's the emotional, sentimental value as well. So being remembered for participating in that moment in the other side and having that moment captured, and even if you can just spot out one name down there on the little micro words that are there, being able to say, you know what, I was there with Netta that day and atareh, and we met up and it was the coolest launch day ever. I think that's one thing where I really look forward to seeing these types of utility enter, where the community can see themselves in these quote unquote memento moments, where we can go back and really have them to hold. Maybe that's a soul bound token. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily need to be available for trade. It's just something to say, hey, I was there,
Speaking of that snapshot, I wanted to quickly point out that for those that don't know, in 10KTF, when the team would do snapshots for airdrops, Wagmi-san came out with the camera and he had rolls of film. And there were 6 rolls of film back in October. And he's done, I think, maybe 4 snapshots at this point. But anytime we were about to get airdropped something or something was going to happen in relation to like a snapshot for something, a photo was taken. Same thing happened today in the other side, where Curtis gathered around and said, we're going to take a snapshot, and you heard camera clicks in the back as well. And yeah, that photo was taken, but in web3, and taking a photo is synonymous with which wallets were here. So I think that it's cool to see the 10KTF playbook or toolbook being used in the other side as well, where it's like, instead of just saying, hey, we're taking a snapshot of your wallets because you're here and we're going to give you this, it's, hey, everybody gather on for a photo and let's remember this moment. And that gets associated with an airdrop now. The 10KTF influence, for those that know, again, that are in the know, that have been following 10KTF, like, I'm seeing the influence that you guys have on the other side and everything that's playing out there. It's subtle, but it's definitely there.
Nice. I didn't pick that up, so that's really good. And of course, like a lot of us are friends, right? Like behind the scenes or even just publicly. So of course you're all learning from each other and then speaking. And I think like the decentralized storytelling part of it is just so big. I think that's the thing that will drive us over the next 12, 24 months.
You mentioned that. What's interesting is, because we had this happen last week for decentralized storytelling or like co-creation, even at the Damn show, there's that level of co-creation happening because A-Bomb got his tattoo that week, and it started out just like a comment in Discord where me tagging A-Bomb saying, A-Bomb telling the story of the tattoo on the Damn show, ? And then he's let's go. And then 2 days later, he's on the pod and he's recording, and we're co-creating with the community as well. So if something really interesting happens in the community that deserves a spotlight, boom, let's get you on. let's talk about that. That can be the subject of this week's damn show. So it's not like we come in with a strict agenda of here's what we want to do and we have like weeks planned out. It's more let's keep a pulse on the community and really have a plan, but then also be able to let go of that plan and embrace that co-creation. It really, I think, is just the future of media, the future of decentralized media. Like you said, it's really, I think, this fascinating thing that we're just at the precipice of.
Totally agree.
Ben, I want to give you the opportunity to tell us what you're working on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's a connection with WAGMI United. You're working with that team as well. And so I'm going to give you the space to really just talk about what you're focused on. Before we get there, I just want to say shout out to your Mutant Ape 3D avatar. So well done. I want you to plug whoever made that for you so we can get them their love. My favorite part of all of this was when you're off camera and your face is doing something. I'm like, is he taking a bite of something? Is he eating? Is he taking a drink? I'm like guessing as yeah, I was like guessing what your IRL person is doing.
all of the above.
Oh no, I want one now. So nice.
Well, yeah. Honestly, it's so, and it never seems to break either, right? So like even when you're moving around, it's not breaking, so you don't have to worry about like eating a sandwich or something and it moves off your face. But yeah, Offshoot 3D actually made it, Jonathan. I owned an NFT from him and he just designed it. I was the first mutant that he'd done. And then I reached out to him. I was like, I really want your mutant to like be my mutant. And then he put me in touch with his friend Brian, who is from Hallway Tile. I think this QR code will probably take you to their website. Yeah, and then we want to kind of, there's a few of us that want to link them all up, hook them all up, rig them, and then start a show as well called Banana FM. And just like talk about something each week, similar thing. It might even just be a topic or something that we're experimenting with. So yeah, and then in terms of WAGMI United, I'm a small part of the ownership group, and I helped like put the Adidas deal together while I was there. Obviously, I came from Adidas football, so it was like Adidas Originals really kind of led the way with the metaverse strategy last year, and then like WAGMI United was kind of a concept put forward to Adidas football, which is like, this is a really organic way for you to come into Web3. But I'm not actively working on it, really. But I'm in touch with the team and those things. But really excited about where that goes, because just changing different industries and communities outside of like our quite small communities is really good. And then at the moment, to be honest, I'm speaking to lots of different people to decide what to do. And most of it really, personally wise, I just prefer to just sit here and be building. So I'm trying to figure out how can I best use my time to help onboard people to the space and help build the space. And then obviously in my personal time, spending Thursday nights on Discord with the 10KTF community. So one of my favorite things actually about, and obviously like Figgy's background and the team's background about doing events and putting them on, you really get to feel it like on a Thursday, even like the music and the soundtracks, to start to pick the same ones. So you know when you're getting close and like Pump It Up comes on and all of these different things. It's like creating, I don't know who said it, whether it was a tweet once or even, I don't know who wrote it, but someone was saying, you know, kind of like owning a day, like Game of Thrones for years was a Sunday, right? They owned it. And I feel like it's really smart what they've done. You know, you can go there on that day and it can be a whole process, right? You know, the music starts at this time, gets going, people start coming in, then all the gifts start pumping. For me, that's one of my favorite things. And I think you can see that like procedural behavior that they're creating and like habits, and then just push that out into when New Tokyo is living and breathing, and then all of us are inhabiting it and creating our own little world.
The person that wrote that, yours truly right here, that was my thread.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
See? Honestly, I see everything. Well, not apart from the mean tweets and DMs. Like if you send me them, I don't ever see them. So stop doing it because nobody sees it. I get so much hate mail, by the way.
Oh
It's
no,
unbelievable. Yeah. Just like I don't I
the
feel like
internet.
yeah, I think some people are angry that I brought a company in, other people are angry that they bought the NFT and it didn't do what they wanted.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people say that I like did things that would benefit only myself, and it's like, okay, I don't really
Hmm.
respond to any of it, but yeah, the internet's quite difficult like that because you can literally just get a notification and it's like a jolt of negativity put into your body from someone you've never met, and it doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. It's quite strange. So I'm
Yeah.
most of the time when I build something, like I've been doing in digital for maybe the last 13 years, I'm never associated public with it. Like, so if somebody doesn't like the campaign or whatever, I just have to, I'm like hurt behind the scenes, like, oh, nobody liked it. Whereas with this kind of stuff now, you're actually publicly associated with it. And I've been speaking to a
Right.
lot of the people that I don't have a term for it, but like Web2 evangelists, I guess, people that are in Web2 environments, but they are Web3 native and they're trying to help change the organizations that they're in. These are people that really need a lot of help. I can tell you from my own personal experience. But yeah, I'd actually like to work with Yuga, to be honest. And I would work with 10KTF, but I don't know if I'd have to sell my NFTs, so I don't know if I could do that. But yeah, I'm speaking to people and figuring out where best to go and work, really. And then like Friendsco,
Yeah.
which is my studio, is really just an experimental thing. So even if I go somewhere to a company, like Friendsco will be there, like creating hopefully something very special for the space.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you're involved in a lot of things, and
Mhm.
instead of rushing to the next thing, it's like let's take pause and like really look for what is in alignment with what I want to do in the next phase of like your career. So kudos to you, I think, for even having the like the awareness to not just rush into something just to do it, but really see what's next for me. Well, Ben, it was a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, and showing up with your mutant head. Incredible work there. I'm gonna get one for myself. I want my mutant with the cyborg eye. I think it's gonna be
Oh yeah.
incredible. Maybe when you get your mutant, you should we will all be mutants for one episode. Like maybe for Halloween we'll be mutants on video. Yeah.
Look, if one
Definitely.
epic 3 mutants, I'm probably close to getting one.
Yeah, Figgy's Alpha, for those that don't know, is one epic equals was it 3 mutants?
3 mutants.
Is that right? Wow. So get stock up on your 10 KTF epics, everybody. That's the alpha, not financial advice.
By the way, thank you so much, Ben, for being here. I was so happy when atareh told me that you were gonna be with us, that you accepted to be in the podcast. So we need people like you to like, this is one of the reasons why we actually started this podcast, to give even more voice to people like you, to builders, creators, people that are actually making a change in the space. So thank you so much. I hope everything you said will reach as many people as possible, and good luck for whatever you're building
No,
next.
thank you. And no, and thanks for having me. And also, like I said when we met in New York in person, thanks for everything you do. Like it's you. I can't come in all of the time into Discord. When I do, I love it. And obviously you're all there, and it's you're the real kind of lifeblood of the community. And at some point in the future, we hope millions and millions of people know about 10KTF and Bored Apes and all of this, and be able to sit there as like, we built this. Like I kind of felt that when we were
Yeah.
at Ape Fest, when I was standing on the pier and I looked back at New York skyline, and I'm from a small town in North England, and I was like, wow, this is mad. 1 year ago, this didn't even exist. Like, so imagine 5 years from now. So keep doing everything you're doing, and I'm happy to come on any time or just to continue being part of the community. So thank you as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I would love to have you back on, Ben. And that was this week's The Damn Show. That's Diamond, who got rugged for this one, so we'll get him back and make sure he's all good. We have atareh, myself, and we have Mebynetta, and you can expect new episodes every damn Monday. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye.